the next substitution challenge. Okay, the first one says given that A is 4, B equals 3, and C is 7, make up 5 expressions that have a value of 42. And you've got to use at least 2 of the letters in each one. Okay, so what does that mean, the value of 42? Well, the value just means the answer is 42. We talked about function machines before, and so in other words, what we're saying is we're looking for numbers. What number can we put in, or what process can we put it through so that the answer there is 42. Okay, so we're using a couple of different letters at a time. A bit of trial and error. There's a bit of pattern that you can actually use here. So if you did the first challenge, it might come a bit easier. So I want to take, say, let's look at using A and B. Okay, so A is 4. So for instance, if I wanted to think about saying what am I going to multiply by 4, and what could I multiply by 3? Because there's A and there's B. So I'm going to just pick at random. I'm going to pick, say, the number, well, I'll take 10. Okay, because 10 times 4 is 40. That's quite close to 42. And so, of course, if I've got a 3, say I wanted to add another 3, that gives me 43. In order to get 42, what I'd have to do is take away 1. I'm quite happy for you to introduce adding or subtracting numbers as well as that, okay? So in this case here, we've got 10 lots of 4 is 40, add 3 is 43, take away 1 does give you 42. So the actual, that's my rough working, okay? So what I would do with that particular question, I would say my answer is 10A plus B, because that's 1 lot of 3 minus 1. And that's my expression. And I want to prove that it's true, and therefore what I'll end up doing is introducing a line of working that's basically what I just started off with. So we in order to work out these expressions, we start off with numbers and we put the letters back in. And then what I'm doing here is simply proving that the expression does give the value of 42. Okay, I'll try another one. So let's use, say, B and C. Let's try and use all 3, okay? So let's have a go. So I'm just giving you some examples here. If you're happy about it, just go on and do it. But I want to say, well, let's use, say we've got 4 and 3 and 7, okay? So there's no right way of doing it. I'm just going to pick some numbers. So I'm going to pick 3 lots of 4, which is 12, okay? And I'm going to pick, say, 8 lots of 3, just at random, okay? Because that's 24. So if I add 12 and 24, it gives me 36, which is still less than 42. Still less than 42. So if I were to then say, give me 1 lot of 7. So 36 and 7. 36 and 7 is 43. Okay, and as it happens, if I were to take 1 away, that would give me 42. So what I have to do is my expression, well, if I look back up to the bracket line, that's why the brackets are quite good in this case as well. So I would end up with, I've got 3 lots of 4, so that's 3A. And I've got 8 lots of 3, so that's 8B. And I've got 1 lot of C. And then I would just prove that by substituting the numbers in. 12 plus 24 plus 7. Oops, minus 1. Whoa, hang on. Yeah, sorry about that. Minus 1 at the end. That gives me 42. Okay, so you have a go at finding 5 expressions that have got at least 2 letters, if not 3 letters going on. Okay, let's have a look at the other challenge. Given that A is 1, B is 4, and C equals -2, make up 5 expressions that have a value of -4. So we're going into the negative values here. So again, I'll just do one example. Let's use B and C. Okay, so I'm going to use 4, which is B. I'm going to use -2, which is C. And I want to get to the answer -4. Okay, so that's obviously lower than 4, so I don't want to go too high with my positive numbers. Okay, so I'm just going to actually go, let's say I'm going to go with 1 lot of b. So I've just got 4 there. So what do I need to do here? Well, I'm going to add the negative number, because remember, adding a negative is the same as subtracting it. So how many lots of negative 2 would I add on? How many 2's down from 4 is negative 4? Well, if I add 1 lot of negative 2, it takes me down to 2, another 2, another 2, another 2. So in actual fact, I have 1, 2, 3. If I take away 8, okay, I'll get down to negative 4. That's basically 4 lots of negative 2. So if I add on, so I've got 1 lot of b. If I then add negative 8, well, that gives me negative 4. So what I can say here is my expression. I've got 1 lot of b and plus 4c. That should give me my answer. Let me just check. So b is 4 plus 4 lots of negative 2. Well, that simplifies to 4 plus negative 8, which I know is the same as 4 subtract 8, which is negative 4. So it does actually work. So that was a wee bit tricky because it's got the negative, but that's why it's a challenge. Okay, so 5 of each. Have a go at that.